Good day everyone. This recorded video contains lesson discussion in Capstone entitled Identifying Scientific Problems. Okay, most of the things that we use in our daily lives are products of scientific research. Scientific research is the process of systematic inquiry that is based on scientific methods. The main purpose of scientific research is to generate scientific knowledge that can be utilized to improve the quality of human life. So, research serves fundamental purposes to improve the quality of life of human beings. Innovations and inventions are products of thorough research investigations. So, they are useful in many ways to aid us in our daily lives. For example, tasks from simple to difficult ones, and provide us so many conveniences. So they also add to the existing body of knowledge and give us more enlightenment about the things around us. Okay, for the lesson objectives, in this lesson, you should be able to do the following. Define scientific research and research problems. Enumerate the characteristics of a good research problem. And provide examples of research problems in the fields of science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Scientific research. The word scientific comes from its root word science. Science, in its simplest definition, refers to a systematic and well organized body of knowledge that is formed through a series of inquiries that utilize the scientific method. So, this means that scientific research is empirical. So, there is a process or method that is applied to test assumptions, and that process or method is being used as a logical one in order to come up the right answers to your inquiries. The scientific problem. Scientific research serves as the main source of scientific knowledge, which is a generalized body of principles consisting of laws and theories that try to explain events that happen in our surroundings. So, scientific research is the backbone of creating factual and research based knowledge. Through research, we can provide explanations for various phenomena that we experience and give logical or reasonable judgments in critical situations. A series of interrelated research studies regarding a particular topic often results in the creation of laws and theories. Laws refer to a validated body of knowledge regarding observed patterns of phenomena or behaviors. Theories, on the other hand, are systematic explanations of the underlying phenomenon or behavior that remains to be validated and improved through a series of scientific investigations. So, laws and theories were formulated and created because of the scientific research employed by scientists. So, consider the law of motion and other laws in physics. They are all products of scientific observations. So, the theories proposed by scientists, whether proven or not yet proven, they are all tested through scientific research investigations. Steps in scientific research. So the steps of scientific research employ a scientific method. So this is the kind of procedure employed by scientists, whether natural or social scientists, to come up with answers to their scientific inquiries. First, observing and identifying the research problem. So most scientists start their work by observing their surroundings or environment, and this allows them to identify processes or things that require improvement. So good observation allows you to start identifying the problem that needs a solution. Scientists start with observation and curiosity, and by that you can formulate inquiries. Okay, you may observe that there's an existing pollution in this area, as you can see in the photo. This problem might lead to environmental degradation due to improper waste disposal. And you notice that most of the trash in this area are products from the market. So it will lead to another inquiries regarding the source of this waste, and this can be used to formulate research questions. So observation of one's surroundings is essential to scientific research. Pollution, for example, is a major problem nowadays, and that impacts many aspects of life. Okay, next, conducting background research. Researchers may conduct an initial research background investigation by discussing what they currently know about their study. So, in this part, researchers may start gathering and reading related literature about the problem that you formulated from your observation. So, you can check some related studies if you can duplicate the process or methods they used in conducting the scientific research. So you check if you have the same problem and imitate how they conducted their study. Okay, the review of literature provides insights into related studies that have been done in the past, methods used to solve previous problems, and generated results and generalization of previous research. So by using the given example on plastic pollution and vegetable waste production, a researcher may look for additional information on biodegradable plastics while conducting parallel research on possible uses of vegetable waste. So you may observe that there's an existing pollution area. So by that, you can formulate your research problems, and in order to explore further about that problem, you may look for relevant literature. That's why in conducting a research, you need to do literature review in order to provide some insights about the phenomenon that you are trying to explore or investigate. Next, formulating hypothesis. A hypothesis is nothing more than a good scientific guess. Most of the time, researchers formulate their hypothesis based on the information they gathered from the literature review. So your research hypothesis is your scientific guess or assumption that should be tested through an empirical process or a scientific method. Your research will revolve in your hypothesis. So your research method should be connected and logical to test your hypothesis. And in formulating your research hypothesis, you have to narrow it down and be specific. If your observation and research problem are generalized, then you have to narrow down your hypothesis. So your hypothesis will be your guide on how to conduct your research. An example of the literature search regarding biodegradable plastics and uses of vegetable waste, a researcher may think that he or she can produce biodegradable plastics from the starch extracted from vegetable waste components. So from this, the researcher can hypothesize that it is possible to produce biodegradable plastics by using vegetable starch as an effective binder. Okay, next, testing the hypothesis by designing the research methodology. Research methodology refers to the set of methods, procedures, or techniques that will be used for the overall handling of data about a topic. The methodology serves as a roadmap in executing the testing of the hypothesis of the study. So your research methodology expresses how to solve or answer your research question and test your hypothesis. So before you decide to outline your methods, you have to check first your hypothesis. So you have to anchor your methods in your hypothesis. Make sure that it can give the genuine data and correct analysis to come up the right conclusion and proper recommendations. And in your methods, it includes your research design, the data samples, the research procedure, tools and instrument, data analysis, etc. In the example of the production of biodegradable plastics from vegetable starch, a researcher may try different formulations to create biodegradable plastics. To test the feasibility of this idea, the researcher may design a research methodology that would evaluate the properties of the produced biodegradable plastic, such as tensile strength and degradability. Okay, next, collection, analysis, and interpretation of data. So once the research methodology is completed, the researcher starts the actual study by collecting the necessary data to answer the research question. Data collection is a critical step as this provides the framework for the conclusion of the study. So after your methodology is validated, then you can proceed now to the next step, which is the data collection. And you have to be careful in collecting your data. If there's something wrong in your data collection process, it can affect the quality of your research. Wrong data, wrong analysis, wrong interpretation, wrong conclusion, wrong recommendations, then wrong research. After data collection, the researchers need to perform the analysis to extract the essential information needed to answer the research questions. Data analysis is done with the use of statistical methods that you have learned in your statistics and other research classes. And the results of the analysis must then be interpreted and discussed based on supporting details collected from previous knowledge about the topic. So after you completed your data, you can proceed to data analysis. And you have to make sure you have the right tools and statistical methods to analyze your data. And the analysis of your data will be the basis of your interpretation, conclusion, and recommendation. By using the same example, the researcher may test the collective tensile strength and the degradability of the produced biodegradable plastics. The data collected can be compared to the same properties of the usual plastics available in the market to set a comparative analysis. Okay, next, drawing conclusions and recommendations. So the results generated from the analysis and interpretation of the data collected need to be summarized in relation to the set of research questions. After the summary, researchers generalize the essential information to form the conclusion of the research, and this serves as the primary answer to the identified research problem. So in this part, you have to answer your research question and the result of testing your hypothesis. On the other hand, the recommendation comes in the form of future plans regarding what the researchers could do to improve the generated answer from the study. So it can also suggest future directions in the field that might open new problems related to the current topic. So your research recommendation should be addressed to the beneficiaries of the research studies. So this means that you have to go back to the significance of your study, and the kind of recommendations you should give will be based on the results of your study. In the sample research study, if the collected data show that the properties of plastics produced are comparable to the conventional plastics in the market, the researcher may conclude that vegetable starch is a good candidate as a source of an effective binder for producing biodegradable plastics. Okay, next, sharing your research output. These are usually in the form of posters and oral presentations during organized conferences for a specific field of science. Researchers are also required to publish their works in journals or any form of media that allows their work to be known by other people. Through publication, researchers allow other people to replicate their work, and if similar results keep coming out, a scientific consensus can be formed. In this manner, most theories and laws are developed. So, if you want your scientific research to be useful, disseminate it through research colloquiums and publications if you want to contribute to providing solutions to the problem that you observe in your surroundings or in your community. So, these are the steps in scientific research involve careful identification and analysis of problem and related data acquired. So all in all, there are 8 steps. Okay, and let's proceed to the characteristics of a research problem. So the very first in conducting scientific research is to start with an appropriate research question. And research question is derived from the research problem. Okay, a research problem may refer to a question or issue observed in your surroundings that need to be addressed to look for a solution. So your whole research gives you a sense of direction in your research. Or your research question will give you a sense of direction in your research. It will give you the ideas on how to construct your research hypothesis, guides you to the right procedure to follow, and the discussion should you write in your paper. The research problem can be anything that comes out of the researcher's curiosity, intention, social aspects, or even testing things that deviate from the norm of the society. So it starts with your observation. So there's a desire in you to explore such phenomenon, enlighten the questions that surround those inquiries, and see what you can do to contribute on shedding light on such problems. And there are two ways in which research problems are stated in the research process. So we have the problem statement and the research objectives. When we say problem statement, this refers to the general overview of the scope and purpose of the study that provides an initial understanding of the research topic, while research objectives, these are specific parts of the general problems that come as statements or questions that communicate greater details regarding the nature of the study. So, problem statement and research objectives are distinct from each other. However, they are connected as your research objectives should be derived from your problem statement. So, this is an example of a problem statement. Assessment of antimicrobial property of aloe vera. And by that problem statement, you can unpack it through different objectives that are also connected to the problem statement. So from the problem statement, we have research objectives such as extract compound from aloe vera, determine nature of compounds from aloe vera, and test antimicrobial property of compounds from aloe vera. And let's proceed to factors in choosing a good research problem. So first, you have to consider its researchability. Researchability means that the observations or data needed to answer the problem can be collected from the real world setting. So this means that a good research problem must be able to answer through scientific investigation. Next, theoretical and practical significance. A good research problem must be socially relevant and worth investigating. So you have to make sure your research is beneficial to advance some causes or provide solutions to existing problems, or it can improve previous theories or provide more insights to existing theories relevant to your research. Next, originality. During the literature review, it is important that researchers check the novelty of the research problem that they want to solve. It is possible that in other parts of the globe, a different researcher has already published a similar work. So, although you can replicate capstone projects previously conducted, you should make something novel or new in your own capstone research. So, you have to think of a new twist in your research. Hence, even though your research is a replicate of the previous research, there should be something new or different in your research. The next, feasibility. Researchers must check if their research problem can easily or conveniently be done. So before you propose your capstone research, make sure that you have the available resources and that you have enough time to finish your research on time. So you have to consider your convenience as well. The next, specificity. Researchers need to identify specific questions from the general problem that they have defined. The research objectives must be clear and practically manageable. So you have to narrow down your research objectives from your research problem and explore only the relevant questions in your research. Next, the ethical considerations. A researcher must take into account all the possible moral considerations involved during data collection and publication of results. So make sure that your research procedure is morally accepted, especially if it involves humans or animals. So no one should be harmed during the conduct of your research. That's why some schools have ethics board committee to check the moral uprightness and principles in your research. Then sample research problems in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. So um, the next slides contain sample capstone research project that you can use as inspiration or reference for you to think about the capstone project that you want to propose in this subject. Okay, we have sample research in the field of biology and its research problems such as lack of taxonomic data on bat species in Pulido Island, Quezon. And from that, you can formulate the problem statement and the research objectives. And for the chemistry, we also have examples such as plastic pollution and disposal of excessive potato peels from public markets. And from that, you can derive your problem statement and your research objectives. For physics, we also have example, lack of existing models in explaining the expansion of metals in gas pipelines in Metro Manila. And for engineering, mathematics, and technology, we also have an example. It is difficult to monitor the actual number of passengers riding each of the MRT stations daily. So from this research problem, you can formulate your problem statement and your research objectives. And that's the end of the lesson. And thank you for watching the video. And see you on our face-to-face class.